Where is everybody? That is the question physicist Enrico Fermi asked in 1950. The universe is billions of years old. There are billions of stars like our sun. Statistically, the galaxy should be teeming with life. We should see their ships, hear their radios, find their probes. But we see nothing. We hear nothing. Just the cold, dead silence of the void. We used to think the silence meant we were alone. We thought we were special. But what if the silence isn't an absence of life? What if the silence is camouflage? What if the smartest civilizations stay quiet because they know what is listening in the dark? Today on Apex Sci-Fi, we join the crew of the UNSS Prometheus, the first human ship to break the lightspeed barrier. They went looking for neighbors. They found out why the neighborhood is empty. If you are brave enough to face the answer to the Fermi Paradox, hit that like button quietly. Subscribe, but don't ring the bell. We don't want to attract attention. Chapter 1. Proxima B. The jump to Proxima Centauri was supposed to be a triumph. Captain Thorne and his crew arrived expecting to find something. Microbes. Maybe simple plants. Best case scenario, a primitive civilization. What they found was a megalopolis. The sensors picked up the structures from orbit. Cities that covered continents. Towers piercing the clouds. "We are not alone," Dr. Eris whispered on the bridge. "They are advanced. Type 1 civilization at least." But there were no lights. No radio signals. No heat signatures. The Prometheus landed in the largest city. Thorne stepped out onto the surface. The air was breathable, but smelled of ozone and stale ash. They walked through streets paved with obsidian. The buildings were intact. No signs of war. No bomb craters. No blast marks. "Where are the people?" Lieutenant Sona asked, her voice trembling. Then, she looked down. The streets were covered in a thick layer of gray dust. It wasn't sand. It piled up in drifts against the benches, inside the empty vehicles, on the clothes left lying on the ground. Dr. Eris scanned the dust. The analyzer beeped. "Carbon," Eris said, his face paling. "Calcium. Trace organic compounds." He looked at the empty city. "Captain, this isn't dust. It's them. Billions of inhabitants. Vaporized instantly. Turned to powder where they stood, leaving their cities pristine. Whatever killed them didn't want the land. It didn't want the resources. It just wanted the noise to stop." Chapter 2. The Trappist Graveyard. The crew fled Proxima. They needed to know if this was a freak accident. They jumped to the Trappist 1 system. 7 habitable worlds. A paradise for life. They arrived to find a slaughterhouse. Trappist 1E had a ring around it. From a distance, it looked like ice. Up close, it was a ring of corpses. Millions of alien bodies, mummified by the vacuum, floating in a perfect orbital band. They weren't turned to dust like the Proximans. They were simply switched off. Bioscans showed no trauma. Their brains had simply ceased electrical activity simultaneously. "They were trying to leave," Thorne noted, looking at the debris of escape ships mixed with the bodies. "They saw something coming." Sona managed to hack into a drifting orbital satellite. She pulled the logs. The timestamp of the extinction event matched Proxima perfectly. 200 years ago. "What happened 200 years ago?" Thorne asked. Eris pulled up Earth's history. 200 years ago. That's when humanity started high-power radio broadcasting. That's when we started screaming into the void. And that's when they started using warp technology, Sona realized, pointing at the alien logs. "Captain, look at the energy signatures. They turned on their first FTL drive, and 3 days later, they were dead." It wasn't a war. It was an exterminator. The moment a civilization becomes loud enough, the moment they break the laws of physics to travel faster than light, the great filter activates. Chapter 3. The Listener. They found a warning. Deep in the Trappist archive, a final transmission had been saved. It wasn't a plea for help. It was a message to the future. The crew played it on the bridge. The translation software struggled, but the meaning was clear. "Do not leave your cradle," the alien voice rasped. The stars are not empty. They are guarded. There are entities in the subspace. The silencers. They hunt energy signatures. They hunt warp bubbles. We woke them up. We tried to touch the infinite, and the infinite looked back. If you are listening to this, stay quiet. Stay small. Do not warp. The message ended. Thorn looked at Sona. We used a warp drive to get here. Sona nodded, tears streaming down her face. We punched a hole in space-time, Captain. We rang the dinner bell. Suddenly, the proximity alarm screamed. Anomaly detected. Closing speed. Impossible. It wasn't a ship on the radar. It was a void. A patch of space where stars simply vanished. And it was following their trail. It was following the breadcrumbs back to the source of the jump. It was following them back to Earth. Chapter 4. The Race Home. We have to warn Earth, Thorn yelled. Spool up the drive. If we warp, Eris argued, we attract them faster. They already know where we live. Thorn countered. The wake is already drifting towards Sol. We are the only ones who can tell Earth to shut up. The Prometheus engaged its engines. The Shadow pursued. It didn't fire weapons. It didn't need to. It simply collapsed physics around it. As the Prometheus entered the warp tunnel, the tunnel began to shake. The silencers were surfing the wave. They were hunting. The journey home was a nightmare of turbulence and terror. They burst out of warp at the edge of the solar system. Pluto was just a speck. Did we lose them? Sona asked. The sensors looked back. The darkness was there. Growing. Expanding. It had followed them through the door. Send the message, Thorn ordered. Wideband. All frequencies. To United Earth Command. This is Prometheus. Code Omega. Stop the signals. Turn off the grid. Silence the radios. Hide in the dark. They are here. We don't know if the message arrived in time. We don't know if the entities can be fooled by silence once they have found a target. But now, when you look up at the night sky and see the emptiness, you know the truth. The universe isn't empty because life is rare. The universe is empty because the smart ones know how to keep their mouths shut. And humanity? We just walked into a dark forest and fired a flare gun. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, gently tap the like button. Comment below. Do you think we should be sending messages to aliens, or should we be hiding? Subscribe for more transmission from the void. Until next time, SHHH. End of recording.